and welcome to Silverstone for round 6 of season 3 in 2026 here on iRacing. This is the Radical Esports Cup, and this is going to bring us to the halfway stage of our season here tonight. Myself, Ian O'Leary, Craig King with you in commentary on Esports TV and iRacing here tonight with Ramiro Augustin Cisneros behind the cameras. It's good to be alongside you, Craig. It is an iconic racetrack, Silverstone, and it suits these cars very well. It's actually quite a wide circuit when you put these on them, these relatively small radicals on them, and the draft going to be very, very important as well, coming down some of these longer straights, some of these higher speed corners as well. Going to be interesting too. It's an iconic place to come for round 6.
Yeah, the last time we were here, very entertaining race. The drivers really love this track. I'm looking forward to seeing what mechanical grip that the drivers are going to try to eke out in these cars, because I think that's going to be the name of the game through some of the slower sections of this modern day version of Silverstone.
Indeed, the new section in place for some time now, although it does still feel very new. It's, as I say, is round 6 of our season. Bit of an unusual circuit next week, by the way, at Willow Springs. This is the last Grand Prix circuit this week until we get to the finale at Interlagos on the 4th of September. Long way to go until we get there, but notable that this is really the only Grand Prix circuit between now and then. Some very narrow circuits coming up in between times, including Willow Springs next week, but also the likes of Lime Rock and Zolder, etc. as well, pretty narrow as well. Because we're getting towards the halfway stage of the season, it's starting to become a little bit more well-rounded, the iRacing official points, but Brandon Hawkin has been absolutely dominating so far this season. He's more than 250, to be precise, 253 points ahead of Jake Williams already. Jake Williams not that far in front of James Barry or Peter Eveny. Kjetil Larsen also in that little group in 5th place. Then a bit of a jump back to Max Davies, who's really on his own in 6th. Alfredo Malo quite a long way behind him, but only 16 points in front of Hans Brun. Then it's Ollie Gullikson and Hubert Gullikson who round out the top 10. Brandon Hawkins already, also I should say, dominating on a Friday night here at Racebot TV. He's got 120 points I should say, to Jake Williams' 61, only 1 point in front of Peter Eveny, therefore as well. James Barry only a few points further back in 4th. Then Max Davies, who's rounding out the top 5 out of Andre Castro, who's been here on a couple of occasions. Kjetil Larsen, Hubert Gullikson, Heinz Brun, Diogo Perez round out the top 10. Those two standings really tell us here, Craig, that it has been all about Brandon Hawkin. On a Friday night, he's 4 in a row in this time slot, and he's going for number 5 here tonight.
I think the name of the game is going to be who can stop Brandon really having fun in this car this season. Everything's clicking for him. At the moment, after the first lap of qualifying, you can just see it there, though, however, not on the pole. But it's a very cold track, and you can see it there, 19 Celsius air temperature, 21 Celsius is the track temperature. A lot of humidity. Key thing as well, it's 6:30 in the evening at Silverstone. So that's going to eliminate a lot of the heat on this track. And I think that's going to actually change the complexion of this race, being it's a colder race.
In the middle of the day, we might have seen a quite warm racetrack, to be honest, given the time of year, the in-sim date being late July. So that could have been a factor, but indeed it is being raced in the evening, and because again we're quite late on in the middle of the year, I should say, quite late on in the summer, but it should mean that it will stay very light throughout, even though we are very much into the evening. It's Brandon Hawkin coming through the S's now. He's one of the only drivers still out there, to be honest, improving on times. In terms of drivers who are here, by the way, we got a message in from Noah Osbaldson earlier on that he was going to come back to this series for the first time this season to run at Silverstone, try and win again, because he was only in the top 10 once last season, and he won here at Silverstone, venue for round 9 in season 2 of 2026. So far, can't see him on the board just yet, but let's hope for some new names, some different names up on the standings here this time around. As Brandon Hawkin goes over line, Peter Eveny goes a bit faster, Andre Castro does as well, but Brandon Hawkin does go faster than them all. A 55.5 is surely going to get him pole position, and a continuation again of just what a season he's having.
So close though between him and Peter. You can just see as well. We were watching on Brandon there with the aerial camera, just seeing what he was doing. So much work as he went through Stowe as well. The uphill section you see here as well. Talking to drivers going through Stowe. I saw Rattanen as well going there. The car really wants to fight you there.
Start, that's for sure. When we get underway, he's right in the middle of it all. A couple of drivers who still haven't qualified here. Here's one of them who's maybe qualified a little bit worse than he would have been hoping for. Heinz Braun, who has been 1.7 seconds down. It looks like he's waving around a little bit frustration, I think, towards the end of this session for him. Down in 13th position for the start. That is not a good start at all for him. You can see his number. He's supposed to be a bit higher up than this. But the thing about Silverstone in these cars is that the long straights, or at least the long flat-out sections, mean that you don't have to be on pole here at all. You can just be in the draft and then you're in the game here at this circuit.
Yeah, once you survive the farm curve and village into that loop, it opens up to you. So the tyres will be still getting warmed up down that Wellington straight into Brooklyn. But there's your first big opportunity to make some moves. And I wouldn't be surprised if drivers maybe get a little bit too advantage at the start of this race through village. It's one of the slowest corners on the track. And that could be the danger zone to start. But when they get there, Wellington straight, then it's game on.
Indeed, Brandon Hawkin is going to start this race from the pole in front of Peter Eveny by only a quarter of a tenth of a second. Andre Castro ending up third in qualifying today, ahead of Christian Larson. Jake Williams and James Barry will then be on row 3. Sully Rattanen next, ahead of Max Davies, who's been impressive so far this season in our Friday races. He's been in the top 5 3 of the last 4 races. Haver Gullikson and George Gonzaga round out the top 10 in front of Ryan Stringer and Chris Vetz, who round out the 6th row. Heinz Brunn and Nathan Moser round out the 14 drivers who set times. Not sure whether anybody's going to race who didn't set a time in this race here today or not, but anyway, it will be a short and sharp race, as it always is at Silverstone, because of the speed of this circuit. And as you say, going to be a lot of heads-up moments coming into these first few corners, which is pretty tight opening complex these days.
Yeah, I love this tight opening complex. Some people, it's a love it or hate it. The old version, the old layout, probably the best layout. But this is the one that we get nowadays, and I feel that this is going to deliver some fantastic bywords today.
To get underway in a moment. The drivers always rev the engines on the grid for whatever reason. Before we actually get going. Still haven't come in to tell us why, but anyway, it's quite a racket before we get underway. Waiting for a few down the back to get into the grid, it looks like, because the front guys seem ready. Brandon Hawkin nearest to us there on the pole, in front of the fluorescent yellow of Peter Eveny, and then the BS Hybrid livery of Andre Castro there in 3rd place. He's been wanting a challenge. Well, he's certainly got one tonight here at Silverstone in the Radical Esports Cup. And we are underway. It's a very even start from the first 4 rows or so, as Brandon Hawkin takes the lead in towards turn number 1 in front of Eveny, then Castro, and next in line Jake Williams. He's moved up to 4th place. There is trouble through turn 1 right down the back of the field, but for the front guys it's clean. There goes Castro down the inside, perhaps seeing this as a very good opportunity to get up the field early, and he gets past Eveny into 2nd straight away.
Yeah, I was wondering, Eveny just had a little bit of an overlap there as they came through the loop. May have just slowed down Castro a little bit as he went to try and attack, and here comes Eveny. Got to go for that move again, and almost a late move there. Castro trying to play the bait, and Jake Williams says, thank you very much, I'm going to take that position away. Brilliant driving there. Castro just got caught napping.
And he got his nose chopped off there through Brooklands, as well as Williams put him in his rearview mirror. And don't forget, these two have come to blows before. I'm not sure whether it was, I think it was last season at Spa, round 4, where they had a last lap battle after waiting lap after lap after lap. They finally did go into battle. We only chatted to Castro afterwards, but he certainly wasn't pleased with Jake Williams and the end of that race. Well, they've got on track together again here for pretty much the first time since then. It's been 3 or 4 months since that incident, but they haven't really been on track together, or indeed side by side together on a Friday night since then in the last 3 months or so. But Jake Williams is indeed now in front of Castro. He's got to be careful though, and Castro's got to be wary of this as well, that they don't lose the draft. Their battle might well consume everything right now though, because Castro goes to the inside. There is contact. Williams has to save it. It snaps away from him on the outside there, and here comes James Barry trying to take a place as well. Castro gets through. The two of them making contact again here. Williams is not clear, and he's going to try and get into line behind Barry, but the front two are getting away as a result of this battle, which is resurfacing between Castro and Williams again.
That little knock there made that James Williams had to take a slowdown, and that's one of the reasons why he couldn't fight on with Barry, because he wanted to try and keep the speed up. And he's so unfortunate going down the order there, just a little tap. It's just a bit unfortunate there, as we also had incidents at the start of the race. Wet, going to go through wide. Well, through wide never works there, and that's what happens when you try to make it through wide into Abbey. Even on the start with these small cars, getting up to speed, that's always a little bit dangerous there. And Charlie Devlin, another driver that got caught out in that moment, he was on the outside. So unfortunate. Now these drivers, though, they're going to have to work together. I don't think they'll want to work together, though, but they're going to have to if they want a shot at this victory. Already, the top two have that gap of over a second.
Yeah, and Ibney is going to have to work pretty hard to get into the slipstream, even if Brandon Hawkin, who I think is in a dream scenario again here, to maybe take the race win and absolutely run away with this at the front of the field. But let's wait and see here if he can go 5 in a row. But yeah, Castro is now at the front of the group, and there does seem to be a little bit more of a stretching out here as opposed to when Williams was at the front of it. They were crawling all over the back of him really to begin with. It's a little bit unfair to him, of course, because he'd only just got past, but nevertheless, they weren't going to be waiting around. So Castro and Barry went straight through, and here they are on the higher straight, nowhere near in the slipstream. Peter Ebony just about is on Brandon Hawkin, but yeah, this is very dangerously teetering on the edge of just being a two-driver race for the win. And indeed, Williams is getting runs on Barry as well, but he keeps shaking the car around as if to shake his head and say, I'm not going to try and get past you here. I'm going to try and work with this group so that we can get back to the leaders again.
Yeah, I think Barry just caught up and break at the top and going over Stowe. Grip just went away from him a little bit there. I think that's what happened, and just put him right into the grasp of Williams. And you want to be right now, you need to look forward. You don't want to be looking behind, but unfortunately, that has been happening for Barry. He's already up 2 places though. He's having a real good start to this race. But now the tyres are warmed up. I wonder if he's just having issues trying to catch up there. But fastest lap last time was to Castro. I think Barry was only shortly behind him as well. So they are making strides on these leaders. Just going to make sure not to have any fighting. Williams doesn't go for it. There's Castro. He is trying to bring us a train of 4 on with it.
This is still looking difficult though. The front two still look to have the advantage here, have a pretty decent advantage. Williams is continually putting the pressure on Barry as well, but there are the front two, Hawkin and Evany. Now they could work together here as well, so there may be 2 groups working against one another here, and that might well just leave the gap for Hawkin and Evany to stay in front of that group behind if they work together and they just sort of maintain things right now. But that was a bit wide from Evany there, and the further he slips away from Hawkin, the more likely it is that Castro can catch a bit of the slipstream down the hanger straight here, and I think he is catching a very slight bit of it, but of course Evany is as well. So they're all pretty quick down towards Stowe. We're in a bit of a holding pattern here after the opening couple of laps of battles and intrigue. This is going to calm down a little bit now, at least until / if these 2 groups get back together again.
I wonder if they will get back together. Such is the pace, and I'm just looking on. Andre Castro has a slowdown, and I think he cut too much of one of the corners, so he's leading the second group, trying to catch up to these front 2, and that's not going to help him as we're on board with Williams, and you can see now just looking for the opportunity. He'll probably see in his black box that Andre has to serve this slowdown, and he finally serves it, but that's going to be frustrating for the drivers, knowing that the car in front is slowing down to serve that slowdown. Barry will try and just get concertinaed up because of it as they come through the loop into Aintree. And this could be an opportunity for Williams to really go for that move, and actually straight away Barry realised it and thought, well, you might be faster. I think we just want to hold like this at the moment because Castro's pace, providing he doesn't slow down, is quick enough to catch up to the front two.
Really hanging in the balance at the moment, this race. But the longer it just hangs in the balance, the actually more it favours Hawkin and Eveny the longer it goes on. Don't forget, these are not long races, and especially at Silverstone where the speed's so high, the same amount of distance can be covered very quickly. So these 13 laps are going to absolutely flash by. At what point do these guys give up? Because they got pretty close last time round. Castro has lost a couple of attempts, maybe a few attempts this time though. He just couldn't run through the S's at least, but he's still 1.1, 1.2 seconds away. So at what point do these guys behind get restless and try and make their own move here? Here's James Barry on the way towards Stowe. He is going for it almost. Well, that maybe is the first sign here of this deteriorating now, because Castro has lost time on this lap now, and I wonder whether they're giving this up, because Castro must be going pretty quickly, but without slipstream you don't have much of a chance, I don't think, and they might well give it up and say, well, let's fight for third instead then.
Well, it's still early days. It's still early days in the race. I know it's lap 5 of 13, it said there, but remember, these are 1 minute 55 laps, so you do have a lot of opportunities, and also you've got lots of straights to really look for moves, but the aim of the game right now is to look to see if they can make moves, and I think even he will realise that there's no reason for me to be aggressive right now. Stay on the back of Hawkin right here and just use that to advantage. Yes, I was the fastest car last time, but Hawkin's pace is good enough that we can just go away, and then with the last 3 laps to go, maybe start attacking. Let these 3, in fact 4, really 5 even. Now when you look at it, I think it's the train of 5 with Cattell Larson and Glikson right behind. This really has just erupted into the unfortunate Castro train that nobody really wants to be part of, because look at the Concertina at the front. Still, Barry and Williams, they just get bunched up and then they can't do anything on the throttle.
This must be a pretty frustrating place to be at the moment, in the middle of this group. Just run onto the hangar straight. It might not happen for him here this time round, but if that develops, then maybe there's a chance. Equally, even he might just stay behind and stay behind for some time. But Barry's going for it. They've given it up now, or at least Barry might have done. Castro lets him go, as if to try and keep the peace in this group, but Jake Williams is going to want to get past him as well, and he's going to. Down the inside, Castro breaks a bit earlier, and he has to tuck back into line. Barry breaks a bit deeper as well. They lose another half second or so, but Barry is at the front of the group now, and Andre Castro shuffled back a couple of places.
Yeah, a little wiggle there from Williams. He's saying, I'm not going to do anything right now, and it's kind of a reverse fortune there for Castro. What happened to Williams early in the race, where lost one position from Stowe, then lost another one going into the Bell chicane. And interestingly, how they all just stacked up there, because again, go to the ridge of Stowe, and just that grip left Barry's car there. And James had to really get on the throttle, but everybody else behind with a smoother line was able to be aggressive. Now he has to go on the defense, because after all that, he's just way too slow, and that's William giving him the hit of let's go for this. But look at Castro.
Oh, no!
They come together. Very hard moves.
Castro and Williams collide again. Oh my goodness, it's happened at least a couple of occasions now, most pertinent of which the race-winning battle at Spa, race 4 of last season, nearly 4 months ago, and they've collided again. This time in towards Brooklands at Silverstone. They only collide on the iconic circuits, it seems. Some iconic moments in the last 4 months or so between those two, and yet more contact. Castro goes for only a half spin, so he's only down to 6th. Williams is outside the top 10. We'll see a replay of it in a second, try and give a verdict on who might be at fault, but they've come together again, and I can't help but feel their own personal battle there has clouded their judgment here. Barry and Williams are trying to work something out, and Castro wants a piece of it, and for me, he misses the apex there.
Yeah, I just wonder if there was just an issue going on with that, because he was just looking to be a little bit aggressive, and I feel that he didn't understand the situation. He was trying to just work for a move there, when he should have realized that maybe Williams are just working together. They had to work together there to try and catch up to the leaders, and I think what you were saying earlier, Ewan, that they were trying to just accept that they were going for third place, might have been in one person's eyes there, but not in everybody's eyes, and that's such an unfortunate incident there. And well, can we find another popular big name track for them to go, because there could be fireworks. Well, did you say Interlagos is coming up soon? That could be very interesting.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. Final race of the season in 6 weeks' time. Yeah, I think there was a bit of disagreement as to what to do in that group, really, in as far as there were some who wanted to, as you say, try and still catch the leaders, even though it was looking more and more difficult, to be honest. That there were some definitely who still wanted to give that a go, but there were others, and I think Castro was maybe the last of them to actually come to the agreement. But in the end, I think he came to also the viewpoint that they might as well start fighting for third, because that's the most they were going to get out of it. But he just misjudged that, really, down the inside, slammed straight into the side of Williams. He was already sliding before he even hit the Welshman there, and they were both sliding and nearly spinning when contact was actually made. So, yeah, that's contact between them again, and it'd be interesting to see what happens if they get together again this season. It certainly would be. Castro, by the way, has been second in the last 2 races in a row. He's not going to continue that run. Jake Williams has been in the podium 3 times so far in the first 5 races. That is also going to come to an end, and this is the fight for the last podium place between James Barry, Kjetil Larsen, and Hubert Gulliksen as well, who are really the only ones left in that group.
Yeah, and to be fair, because of all these incidents, they both made up they both made up places. I say that Larsen started 4th, still is 4th, but Gulliksen up 4 places himself. And technically, you've got James Barry now up 3 places after everything that's going on. And there's going to be a different protest. I feel that Larsen and Gulliksen may accept that, Barry probably has the pace on us. So let's work together to see if we can utilize this. And I do wonder, they are a couple tenths slower than those top 2, so probably give it a couple laps, see if they've got the pace to reel in. But 3 seconds between this 3 and the top 2, it does feel like that's a breakaway group that's too far away. But I think these 2 will play a little bit safer compared to what we saw earlier, and Barry will be happy to just hold the lead of this pack. And I feel this is where he feels a bit more comfortable in the lead of a pack, doesn't need to worry too much, and these drivers probably not going to be looking too much for aggressive moves early this race.
So still a first and second. Brandon Hawkin and Peter Eveny fighting for first and second. Then James Barry, Kjetil Larsen, Gulliksen in this group for third. Andre Castro's on his own in 6th position. Max Davies starting to distance the others for 7th. As we look at Chris Retz here, having some trouble. He's the only one so far who's come down to pit lane so far, by the way, spinning out of turn number 4 there for him. Sonny Rotten and Heinz Braun are the one giving chase to him. Charlie Devlin's the only one in front of Jake Williams at the moment, preventing him from getting inside the top 10, and George Gonzaga is just behind Williams at the moment, as we've got 5 laps to go at the end of this rate, at the end of this lap, sorry. Brandon Hawkins still leading, but Peter Eveny is still hovering there, and I wonder whether that's because he's just hanging on at the moment, or whether he is genuinely waiting, really, for the latter moments of this race to come through and try and steal the race win away.
I wonder if that little look that he gave going up to Stowe was just a bit of a dress rehearsal to see what can I do to make that, because these drivers haven't needed to look for a move like that so far this race, so they haven't had to see what's happened behind them with these drivers battling, and Gulliksen getting up to the back of Larsen now, and I'm starting to think these 2 might be starting to lose that toe that Barry has given them. The gap's starting to spread a little bit. The slipstream will help them, of course, in these cars. It does make them longer able to catch up here, because straight away Barry, even though he's got a decent lead and a decent launch out of Aintree in the loop, well, started giving the old serpentine to make sure that these 2 didn't get a chance there. He's holding on to this position, and he's trying to make sure that he keeps his P3. It'd be great for him if Barry can get back on the podium, even though it's not the victory. Very helpful if we hit the halfway stage of the season.
Indeed. It's the 2 important battles, really. First and for third. Again, they're sort of in waiting periods again, waiting for the end of the race. It just seems that even he is waiting rather than just hanging on and just keeping up, really. He's going to be able to do something. You see the gap never going any more than 3 tenths there as he comes through the S's. If he really wanted to, would he be close enough there? It's hard to tell, but at the moment he's not doing anything. And Larson also not doing anything with James Barry either, although Gullickson was looking a little bit on the way towards Stowe Corner there. So 4 laps to go at the end of this one now, and when is this period of waiting going to come to an end? When are they going to finally go for it here? There isn't long left now.
I do wonder if this is trying to etch this gap out a little bit longer at the front. 3.2 seconds between even and Barry. I do wonder if that's going to help him, and looking again a tenth slower Barry compared to the 2 leaders. So just maybe etch the gap out a little bit, because we've seen earlier, when you looked at the side-by-side fighting we saw earlier in the race between Barry and Castro and Williams, they were losing half a tenth just going through a corner. So if even he wants to go for that aggressive move, well, he's going to have to make sure he's got the space to do it. So I wonder if that's also playing in his mind, especially with lap 10 of 13. Probably too early, but he knows when he gets a little bit of speed here, and it's down this fantastic hanger straight in a minute. Doesn't get anything down here on the old start-finish straight, so I wonder if he's going to wait to see if he gets a good run out of Beckett into Chapel. Because I'll tell you what, Peter's not had the best of exits through that corner so far.
Indeed. Through Copse, very wide from Hawkin that time. He'll be using an off-track for that one. Hope that he's not too close, shouldn't be, in terms of getting to the limit there, because that was very, very wide indeed. And on board down the bottom of your screen with Gullickson, who's taken a slightly different line to Larson in front of him, and James Barry as well. So come out of Magnus and Beckett's now and onto the hanger straight. Even he again feels to me like he's just holding himself back. Same for Gullickson as well, but maybe they just can't pass at the moment. It's difficult to tell. 3 laps to go at the end of this one. That could be a bit wide for Larson. He's put it back in time. If you run a bit wide through Stowe, unlike Copse, you don't have to run very wide at all at Stowe before you get a slow-down penalty. So one thing to be wary of here at Silverstone in the modern version. It has a lot of runoff, of course.
Yeah, a lot of runoff out there, and even though you've got runoff, sometimes you've got to still pay the tax, that is the slow-down tax. I was just looking at all these different lines they're taking, a lot of dirty air they are hitting through Maggots into Beckett's, and I wonder if that's holding up some of these drivers. Even here in the top of the screen has been doing really well trying to hold the gap, but then he gets to the top of the hanger straight and realizes I'm close, but I can't outbrake Hawkin. I think that's the name of the game right now. He has to be brave on the brakes because he's not getting the speed to really look for the attack right now. And I wonder if it's not just a case of him waiting. I think it is just a case of he's probably not comfortable enough. And we've seen it again. We go back to that battle Barry Castro had. Barry made that move into Stowe, sorry. And what happened? He just didn't have the traction or the speed on the exit. And
very costly little error there. Very small error, but it could be a costly one. Slightly wide, and look at the gap. Half a second here. And that's only with 2 laps to go. He might have been trying to time this for the last lap anyway, but that might be all he gets now. And Hawkin realises the gravity of this situation because he was weaving around there, coming down towards Stowe Corner, just to try and break the slipstream of Peter Eveny in behind him. That was very, very interesting to see between the two of them there. Hawkin recognised the scenario. This is a huge lap now for both of them. 6 tenths it just clipped to there for a second. It's over 5 tenths of a second at the line. This is a massive lap now. Even he's going to bring Hawkin back again, and it's going to go to the last lap, or Brandon Hawkin's just been given the invitation to go on and win this race.
He might just get lucky there, and again, Maggots and Beckett's causing issues for Peter there. Just a combination of the dirty air, probably the weight transfer is almost doesn't go under 3 tenths. Trying to get on the throttle again, and I wonder if he is just now accepting, okay, I've made a mistake. If I make a mistake here with the next set of corners through Cops into Maggott and Beckett, I can kiss goodbye to any shot of victory. Gap goes to 3 tenths again. And now he's going to have to try and hold this as he goes through the toughest part of the track into Maggott and Beckett.
Well, here we go. There's a lap and a half to go. It looks like even he has brought it back, and it's going to come down to the very final lap. But can Hawkin keep him at bay? Now, this is the thing with that mistake on the last lap there, on the previous lap. Even he has given Hawkin the opportunity to, if he goes fast enough, just keep him just about out of arm's reach. Very frustratingly so as well. And this is also the problem. It feels like you're very close in the early laps when you're gaining the slipstream because the driver in front of you isn't breaking the slipstream. But when they start weaving around on the Hanger Straight, suddenly it gets a lot more difficult. I think Hawkins in a better position than it looks right now. Although he's under big pressure from even who's right behind him, and yes, a mistake can change everything. I think he's in a better position with the track position than it looks right now. But let's see as we enter the final lap of this race.
Brandon Hawkin has a pressure cooker, and it is absolutely solid. It does not crack, and that is Brandon right now. And he realizes that, yes, the gap went to 2 tenths there for a split second, but look at the different lines, and even he hits the sausage curb there through the village. And while that won't cost him a lot of time, can't get on the throttle, just upsetting the balance of the car a little bit. I saw it up to 5 tenths at one stage, and he has to use this now. He needs to get up to 2 tenths, and it's not happening. 3 tenths, 3.5 tenths, get there. No, it's 3.3 if you look at it in that respect in terms of tenths. And it's just not far enough. Trying to now be a bit too aggressive, and he doesn't want to overheat the tyres coming into this section. This is crucial. Last time he almost went off. I think he had to take a 1x due to being a bit too aggressive out of Beckett's into Chapel Curve. He needs the best Maggott and Beckett he has done all day. I just feel he doesn't have it in him.
I think this is Brandon Hawkins to lose from here. I mentioned that a mistake could change everything, and that is still true. But the gap that he holds here of nearly half a second surely is enough now. Even he through the Maggott and Beckett section needs to gain a lot, but in the dirt here that's going to be very tricky. In fact, Hawkin might have made a slight mistake there. He went in a bit too deep maybe for one point. He's brought it back though. He's 5.5 tenths, nearly 6 away. It looks like Brandon Hawkins going to take this pretty comfortably, and he's going to go 5 in a row in this series on a Friday night. We very rarely see people go back to back, to be honest. Certainly in the last year or so, that's been rare, but 5 in a row is quite extraordinary, especially considering Brandon Hawkins' lack of experience relatively in these radicals. Through the final couple of corners, and it's Brandon Hawkin again, this time at Silverstone for win number 5 of Season 3 in 2026. Peter Evany couldn't quite get there, and James Barry holds on to 3rd as well. In fact, none of those positions in the top 5 changed at the end. It was a big advantage, it seems, to be leading going on to the final laps there.
Yeah, I think the dirty air really caught some of the drivers out, especially with the colder track. They were absolutely trying to push out there. Shout out to Charlie Devlin, though, in P7. Great drive up the order, up 8 places. So while it was tough for drivers to really look for moves once the field started spreading out, one driver able to really make advantage of it. And these two, they had a lot of fun out there today, and I know the respect they've both given to one another just goes to show that, yeah, that was a fun battle.
Yeah, certainly was. Brandon Hawkin takes it by 6 tenths of a second in front of Peter Evany. James Barry holds off Kutcher Larson, Hubert Gullickson, with Andre Castro recovering to 6th place in the end. He gets ahead of Charlie Devlin, and Max Davis, who finishes in 8th place, Sonny Retton, and Jake Williams at least gets the top 10 after all of that. He got past like George Gonzaga, Heinz Braun in the end, Ryan Stringer, Taylor Lane, and Northern Motto were the last drivers on the lead lap. Chris Wetz finished 4 laps down in the end. Well, we often associate Silverstone with, lots of slipstream, lots of overtaking therefore as well, with these radicals especially looking actually quite small at a racetrack like this. But we didn't really see that here. We saw a lot of the dirty air, and the slipstream just wasn't quite enough. It was close, but it wasn't quite enough to counteract that.
No, not enough. And I do wonder, we'll go back to that incident earlier with Andre Castro and Jake Williams. What could have happened if those two didn't come together? We may have seen this overtaking, but it just felt like the dirty air today, especially with the humidity, you can just see it in the air. That caused a lot of issues for the drivers. It made it a really tough overtaking day.
It certainly did. Let's have a chat, shall we, to some of the drivers at the end of tonight, starting with the race winner, Brandon Hawkin, who joins us now. Brandon, congratulations on the race victory. You held the lead pretty much the entire way through that, but coming on to the last lap, how confident were you that you could hold Peter Eveny behind you, despite the fact he was right in your slipstream the whole way through?
I don't know, not really too confident. He was really good on the brakes going into the final chicane, and also I think turn 2 as well. And yeah, it was tough trying to like get enough of a gap there to where he wouldn't be able to make a lunge. But man, that was so after turn 2, and I just like. I was like, okay, there's one down, and then just got a little bit ways to go, and the dirty air helped a little bit for sure, and then the final chicane there, I had just enough of a gap there that he was really good on the brakes going into the final chicane, but I couldn't just had just enough of a gap there to where move wouldn't really be on there. So that was that was tough. That was really tough to just going flat out the entire time trying to run away. And fortunately there was some battling there behind us, so it was just the two of us there at the end. But I was just giving it my all there the entire race.
I mean, did you expect the races coming into this week to be a bit more sort of draft heavy than they were in terms of, waiting for the end of the race and then trying to make the pass right at the very end? Because I've got to say, that was my expectation coming in here, but that didn't really materialise at all. That your battle didn't change for the lead, neither did the one for third on the last lap either. Did you expect more of a sort of draft race?
Yeah, it kind of was. I was expecting a lot of. This track's so fast. I was expecting a lot of leapfrogging down the straightaway, but there was also a lot of fast corners here too. So it kind of canceled each other out. You'd the car behind would get the dirty air, then they get the draft, so it kind of equalized. So I didn't think I'd be wanting to be in the lead there towards the end, but the way the dirty air was, it was enough to keep Peter behind there. But I mean, that was a struggle still trying to get as far away as I could, and that was fun. But definitely dirty air came into effect for sure.
Congratulations on taking the race victory here tonight, Brandon. You're 5th in a row on a Friday night, of course, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Thanks so much, Brandon Hawkin. They're the winner here tonight from Silverstone. None of the other podium drivers have come to join us, but a couple of the guys who finished one driver who finished in the top 10 at least was Charlie Devlin, who has come for a quick word as well. Charlie, welcome in. Congratulations on a top 10 tonight, your first of the season on a Friday night anyway, in the Radical Esports broadcasted split. Tell us about your race there that eventually landed you with a 7th place finish tonight.
Happy with the result. The start wasn't ideal. Got turned around with a bit of netcode at turn 1, lap 1, which wasn't ideal. But honestly, I just came in for a little bit of fun. Just one of my friends said, "Oh, there's a radical race. It's broadcasted. Fancy giving it a go?" I just went, "Yeah, why not?" So I've only done one of these before. I've basically never driven this car before. So to have the lap times I was and the pace that I had after just 5 or 6 laps of practice before we joined the split, I was happy with that.
Well, tell us about what it was like to get used to this car and in this scenario, and whether you enjoyed the Radical driving it or not.
It's a good car. It requires quite a lot of skill to drive. You've got to be incredibly smooth with your inputs to really get a lot of pace out of it. So your brakes have got to be very, very consistent and smooth. Your throttle inputs, everything's got to be absolutely spot on to get a lap together. So yeah, it's definitely a car that takes quite a bit of skill to get your head around and know the ins and outs of.
Well, congratulations on getting used to it so well tonight, Charlie, and thanks for chatting to us at the end as well.
Thank you.
Cheers, thanks very much, Charlie Devlin in 7th place, and a little bit further down the field here today, Ryan Stringer joining us now as well for a quick word. Ryan, welcome in. Good to have you with us as well. How was your race? We're just seeing a well-timed replay of a spin of yours through Stowe Corner, which is either good timing or not, depending on who you ask. But tell us about your race a little bit here tonight.
Yeah, not too annoyed. I'll be honest. I'm not too annoyed. got taken out two times. Lost the back end once. But yeah, pace was a lot better from the last few weeks, and hopefully Sunday I'll be a lot better for the European qualifiers. So yeah, I mean, pace wise, not bad. Didn't lose too much time to the leading pack that was in front of me, other than the toe time. So yeah, I can't write this off as a bad race.
No, well, thanks for coming in for a quick word, Ryan, at the end of the race, and good to have a chat. Hopefully, we'll see you again next week.
Yeah, well, hopefully. It was a bit nip and tuck today. The entries just went over the 24 limit, and I was like, am I going to make it? So I need to get some iRating up to make sure I have a seat next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks very much, Ryan Stringer, there chatting to us at the end of tonight here at Silverstone in the number 16. As I mentioned, they're barely making it into the top split here tonight. But that's just about going to do it for us in the Radical Esports Cup broadcasted split here tonight. As always, we'll be live same time, same place next week. This time from Willow Springs, an unusual racetrack to go to, and we haven't seen it for at least a year in the Radical Esports Cup, so be good to, maybe you haven't seen it ever, I don't know, we'll have to do some research on that before next week, but a great place to go to on July 31st. Make sure you join us on the Racepot TV and iRacing YouTube channels for that one coming up next week. For now, that's just about it from us tonight, though, from Silverstone, where Brandon Hawkin has taken his 5th race victory in a row this season to extend his iRacing and Racepot TV standings lead in the Radical Esports Cup this season. I've been Ian Leary alongside Craig King with Ramiro Augustin Snells behind the camera. Behind the cameras of this Racepot TV broadcast here tonight. And until we see you from Willow Springs again next week, it's goodbye for now.